Assalamualaikum and a very good day to all of you out there. I hope everyone is in good health and ready for our today's lesson. So for today's lesson, we are going to start with Module 2, Ready for Anything. So, are you ready? Okay students, today's agenda. Okay, so for today we are going to do a few activities. First, talk about extreme activities and taking risks. Second, read unusual ideas for raising money. Next, we are going to learn how to use quantifiers, how to define people, places, things and ideas and give additional information about them. Listen to a radio interview with Harry Potter fan and listen to a TV news broadcast about a crime. The content and learning standard after this lesson. So we are going to look at 3 skills: reading, speaking and listening. For the content standard, we're going to look at reading 3.1, understand a variety of text by using a range of appropriate reading strategies to construct meaning. Speaking 2.1, communicate information, ideas, opinions and feelings intelligibly on familiar topics. And listening 1.1, understand meaning in a variety of familiar contexts. And for the learning standard, reading 3.1.1, understand the main points in extended text on a wide range of familiar topics. Speaking 2.1.1, explain simple content on familiar topics from what they read and hear. Speaking 2.1.4, explain and justify own point of view. Listening 1.1.1 and 1.1.2, understand independently the main ideas, specific information and details in extended text on a wide range of familiar topics. So students, let's start. Okay, Module 2, Ready for Anything. Okay, so if you look at the topic or the title of this module, Ready for Anything, okay, what comes to your mind? Yes, it is about doing activities or risky activities, scary activities and so on, right? Okay, so do you think that taking risks is exciting, scary or dangerous? Anyone here had taken or had done any exciting, scary or dangerous activity before? Alright. Well, for me, I think it depends on how big the risk that you are taking is, right? You see, sometimes the risk is so big that you are literally putting your life in danger. This to me is not only scary but foolish too, and I wouldn't try the activity. One such activity is bungee jumping. Any number of things can go wrong, so I can't understand why people do it. Okay, now I want you to look at the pictures below. Okay, we have 4 pictures. Okay, how would you describe the activities shown? Okay, let us look at the first picture. What is the first picture? Yes, it is fishing activity, right? Okay, how about picture number 2? Mountain biking. Okay, picture number 3. Bull riding. And picture number 4, the last picture is bungee jumping. Okay, so can you describe the activities below? Is it enjoyable, unforgettable, risky, terrifying, monotonous? Okay, what is the meaning of monotonous? Monotonous means boring, unexciting. Or is any activities below tempting? What is tempting? Tempting means attractive, inviting, okay, or stressful. And how do you think the people in the pictures are feeling? Are they fearless? Not afraid? Are they terrified? They are extremely feared. Are they thrilled? Are they uneasy or stressful? Okay, if you look at the pictures, we have fishing, mountain biking, bull riding, bungee jumping. Okay, for me, I would describe fishing as a monotonous activity. Because it involves waiting patiently, sometimes for hours, for a fish to bite the bite, right? And for mountain biking, on the other hand, it's not only enjoyable but also exciting, right? Because it challenges us and keeps us on the go. I think it is also tempting, and I would love to try it out sometime in the future. And how about bull riding? For me, I think it is a risky sport as there is always a danger of the rider seriously injuring himself. For this reason, it must be stressful for the rider, isn't it? And last one, as far as bungee jumping is concerned, I think that it can only be described as terrifying and perhaps as unforgettable once you have managed to get through the experience safely. And what about their feeling? Okay, I think the people in the first picture must be feeling relaxed, right? And they must be enjoying themselves. That's how I would feel if I were in their position. We are patiently waiting for the fish. Am I right? As for the mountain biker in the second picture, he must be enjoying himself too. He is most probably confident that he is fit and skilled enough to manage the trail. I don't think that he is any way anxious, but he might be feeling tired if he has been mountain biking for long because what he's doing requires a lot of physical effort. If I had his skills, I think I would be feeling very pleased with myself. About the third picture, I don't think that the bull rider is frightened because he is probably a professional. Do you agree with me? I believe that someone that does something as dangerous as this for a living is fearless. He might be feeling a bit anxious or uneasy because he knows the dangers and risks involved. If I were in his place, I would be terrified. And for the last picture, bungee jumping, I believe that the bungee jumper is terrified. I would be if I were in his position. I am sure though that if he manages to get through this experience safely, that he will be thrilled with himself. It will be one of the most unforgettable experiences he has ever had. Okay, let's start with the first activity, reading. A. Let's discuss. What charities are there in your country? Do they do a good job? Have you ever done anything for charity? Okay, for me, I think there are a lot of charities and non-profit organizations in our country. These charities aim to raise money for the poor, the homeless, the elderly, orphans, people with life-threatening diseases, and other worthy causes such as human rights and education. As to whether they do a good job or not, I'm not really sure, but I suppose that their success is related to how much publicity they receive for charity events they organize. I think that some charities, such as those for the poor and the environment, are more successful because people have heard more about them and can understand the importance of supporting them. And now also, we have lots of social media that we can promote, okay, the charity event so that people can join. Okay, now we move to activity B. Read the text, but before that, look at the picture. What can you see? Yes, you are correct. It is a man in a glass box hanging from a crane with people watching from below. Okay. A reminder, this act should not be attempted by students under any circumstances. What he might do in this? Yes, he did this to raise money for charity. Do you find it is unusual? Elicit your answers. What do all the people mentioned in text have in common? Yes, after you read the text, you will be able to know that all the people in the text did unusual and extreme things to raise money for different charities. Okay, so now let's read the text together.
Module 2. Ready for anything. 2A. Read.
B. Read the text quickly. What do all the people mentioned in the text have in common?
The things people will do. There are thousands of charities and non-profit organizations around the world that help those in need. Competition is fierce, and they have to think of imaginative ways to raise money. A popular trend recently has been for charities to attract the help of members of society who do all sorts of weird and wonderful activities to raise money on their behalf. People are prepared to do unusual and even extreme things for this cause. David Hunt, who is a firefighter, did something of the kind in 2010. He spent 48 hours without any food, locked in a glass box, which was hanging 30 feet in the air from a crane above central London. His unusual challenge was certainly not easy, but it successfully gained a lot of attention. With a little help from another firefighter who was on the ground, they managed to persuade the public to support their cause by making donations that added up to over £5,000. Their chosen charities were the Firefighters Charity and Cancer Research UK. It is not just the young who have gone up high to raise money for charity. In 2009, Kay Matthews, who was 90 at the time, went to Norfolk, UK, to skydive from a plane 13,000 feet above the ground for a war victims charity. She raised about £3,000. Few people are brave enough to go skydiving, let alone an elderly woman, but she loved every minute of it. Others prefer to stay firmly on the ground, but still no further away from danger, like Nicholas Sweff, a 67-year-old businessman who lives in Melbourne, Australia. In 2010, he decided to spend 3 weeks living in a shop window with 400 deadly spiders to raise money for a children's charity. The real-life Spider-Man wasn't at all nervous as he slept among his 8-legged friends and survived the experience unharmed, raising $50,000. The spiders, however, weren't so lucky, as by the end of the challenge, a few of them had started eating each other. Raising money for charity is also popular with students. Alison Bishop from Middleton School in Peterborough, UK, decided to do her bit for charity by doing a sponsored silence in March 2011. She spent a whole school day without saying a word. She had to write things down in class, and she wore a sign saying, "Please don't speak to me. I'm doing a sponsored silence for the National Deaf Children's Association." It was quite difficult, but she managed to raise £874.
Okay, students, now let's do some comprehension questions. Okay, question number 1. What's the latest trend regarding charities? Okay, the answer is in the first paragraph. The fourth line, okay, the members of society do all sorts of weird and wonderful activities to raise money for them or on their behalf. Okay, when you answer the comprehension questions, remember that you don't have to repeat the question. You just answer briefly. Okay, let's say question number 2. What does David Hunt do? The answer is in paragraph 2. A firefighter, or he's a firefighter. So you see, you don't have to repeat the question. You just answer briefly. Okay, so now please do the rest. Question number 3 until 13. Okay, in your reading book. Activity C. Read the text again and complete the table in your reading exercise book. Okay, so for this activity, you have to identify specific information in the text, then you have to transfer to this table. Okay, let's see the first one. Okay, so you have to fill in name, when, where, for which charity, money raised, how many they got, and what they did. Okay, so let's say for the first one, David Hunt. Okay, when did he do the act? In 2010. Where? Okay, you state the place, London, UK. For which charity? The Firefighters Charity and Cancer Research. Money raised over £5,000. What they did? He spent 48 hours without any food locked in a glass box which was hanging 30 feet in the air from a crane. Okay, so you do the rest. Okay, we have K. Matthews, Nick Lisoff, Alison Bishop. Alright. Activity D. Okay, this activity aims you to practice in guessing the meaning of unknown words. Okay, so the instruction, look at the highlighted words in the text and try to guess what they mean. Then match them with the meanings 1 to 8 below. So the first one has been done for you, a difficult task. So you get the word from the reading text. So the answer is challenge. Okay, you have not injured. Number 2. Number 3, able or likely to cause death. Number 4, help. 5, great interest people show in somebody or something. Number 6, strange, unusual. Number 7, the surface of the earth. And 8, fearless. So get the words from the reading text previously. E. Let's discuss. Would you do any of these activities for charity? Why or why not? Okay, maybe you could say, I don't mind going without food for 48 hours. For 48 hours for 2 days, but I seriously doubt that I could stay locked in a glass box which is hanging 30 feet above the ground for that long. Okay, maybe you don't like heights. For the same reason, maybe you won't go for the skydiving either. Spending 3 weeks in a shop window with 400 deadly spiders is also something I would never do. I don't know about you. I will find the whole experience terrifying because I can't stand spiders. Anyone here can stand the spiders? The only activity that I could do without a problem is spend the whole day without saying a word. I'm not sure. I don't think that I would find that difficult to do. Okay, the next question. How important do you think it is to encourage young people to raise money for charities? What values can they be taught this way? It is very important, right, to encourage young people to raise money for charities, as they can get a good value or good values, like they can learn the importance of helping people in need, and we can include also in our civic education today, which is the theme of love. So when we help people in need, it shows that we love people, right? We love others. Okay, so we should do something for charities, or maybe we could do something which we don't get any reward. Okay, it is from your heart. So help others, help people in need, so the love will appear. Okay, for next activity is a vocabulary. So for this activity, you are going to learn few things. Okay, first, adjectives describing feelings. Second, words used both as verbs and nouns. Prepositions, phrases in and out of. Words easily confused. Personality adjectives. And phrasal verbs and expressions with keep. Okay, check this out. Okay, you have 3 vocabulary exercises. Okay, you can refer to this to the meaning of the words in the vocabulary section. Okay. Okay, students, I'm going to draw your attention on the first exercise of vocabulary on page 24 of your Full Blast textbook. Okay, this exercise, exercise A, will focus on words used both as verbs and as nouns in context. Okay, let us look at A. Read the sentences below and look at the words in bold. What do you notice? Okay, A. We should all help raise money for charity. B. Thanks for your help. Okay, what do you notice, students, with the word help? Okay, in the first sentence or sentence A, help functions as a verb, kata kerja. And in sentence B, help functions as a noun, kata nama. Okay, if you look at the note on your right hand side, some words can be both verbs and nouns. Their meanings could be quite similar. For example, the word dance, or quite different. For example, the word watch. Okay, now let us look at the word dance. An example, we dance all night. So dance here functions as a verb where you can use as a past tense. While on the other hand, another example where dance functions as a noun, the school dance was a success. So you see the difference? Okay, how about different meaning? Same words but different meaning. Okay, example, the word watch. Okay, watch. When functions as a verb, it means to look at somebody or something for a period of time and observe what is happening, especially on TV. We watch television. And as a noun, the watch is a small clock worn around the wrist. So you see, same word with different meaning. Okay, so now it is your turn to do the exercises A, B and C, where you can refer to the language plus I have attached here, or you can refer your textbook. Okay, let's say for example, the first one. A, this organization blank the homeless. So you can use the word in the box. Is it stay, start, support, need, experience or harm? Okay, the answer is support, but you have to use the correct form of the words. So because this organization is singular, so we have to add s for the word or for the verb support. So support becomes supports. This organization supports the homeless. Okay, B. Look at the prepositional phrases in the table and circle the correct words in the sentences 1 to 7. Okay, so you can use the prepositional phrases in a hurry, in a good mood, or in a bad mood, out of work, out of breath, in danger, out of control, and so on. And underline the answers in the questions sentences 1 to 7. Okay, for example, Danny loves adventure sports, bungee jumping in general or particular. So the answer is particular, where particular means especially. If in general, it means usually, in more situations. Alright, and exercise C, complete with the words in the boxes. You have drown, land, manage, succeed and so on. You can refer to the language plus. Okay, let us look at the first one. What is the difference between ground and land? So ground, it is the solid surface of the earth. Land, the surface of the earth not covered by water. So question 1, after 3 days at sea, the sailors were glad to see land. Okay, so you continue the rest. Do in your reading exercise book. Vocabulary 2. Okay, this activity aims to practice in using personality adjectives. Okay, so if you look at the questions 1 to 10, okay, you can see that adjectives in bold, so they have different meaning. So you have to match them with the definitions A to J. Okay, let's say for example, Mrs. Smith is a dedicated teacher. She always prepares fun activities for her students. Okay, so what does the word dedicated means in this context? Yes, the answer is D. Spending time doing something because it is important to you. Okay, so that is the answer. Okay, number 2, you have ambitious, courageous, responsible, reliable, strict, patient, sociable, unselfish, and intelligent. So match them with the definitions. And for the last exercise or activity of vocabulary 3, you can refer to your textbook on page 30. So for this one, the aim is to practice phrasal verbs and expressions with keep. Okay. So, you have to complete the blanks with the words or phrases in the box to form phrasal verbs or expressions with keep. Okay, you have the word company. So, keep company, keep somebody company. You have the word on, keep on. You have the word in mind. You have the word to yourself, still, fingers crossed, promise, up with, and eye on, and off. Okay, you can refer to the previous slide or you can rewind. Okay, look at the meaning of each phrasal verbs. You can also refer to your textbook. Okay, let us look at the first one. Yesterday, we stayed at my grandmother's house and kept her company. Okay, so you do the rest in your reading exercise book. Okay, the next activity or what we're going to cover is grammar. So for grammar part, we are going to look at countable and uncountable nouns, quantifiers, defining relative clauses, non-defining relative clauses, and past simple, past continuous. Before we look at countable and uncountable nouns, okay, what is the meaning of noun? Noun refers to people, place, thing, and animal. Okay, so noun is divided into two, which are countable nouns and uncountable nouns. So let us look at countable nouns first. Okay, what is countable nouns? Countable nouns can be counted and have singular and plural forms. Singular, single, and plural, more than one. We can use a or an, one in the singular form, and some, any, a few or few, etc. in the plural form. Certain nouns are always in the plural form. For example, people, clothes, goods, place, usually. His clothes are always clean. So this is plural form. All nouns that consist of two parts, glasses, trousers, jeans, sunglasses, scissors, etc. We use the expression a pair of to express quantity with these words. Okay, for example, Angie wears glasses. George has bought 2 new pairs of jeans. And words such as family, team, group, audience, class, government, crew are collective nouns and may take either a singular or a plural verb without a change in meaning. For example, Tina's family is rich. Tina's family are on holiday. So it is collective noun, one family. So these are the countable nouns. Uncountable nouns. Uncountable nouns are only used with a singular form verb, and we can't use a or an or numbers with them. So to express quantity, we use some, any, much, little, a lot of, etc. So uncountable nouns usually describe food. For example, meat, sugar, cheese, butter. Liquids, milk, water, coffee. Materials, wool, gold, paper, glass. Ideas or situations also cannot be counted. For example, love, help, freedom, time. Natural phenomena, rain, snow, flood. And some concrete nouns, baggage, furniture, money, luggage, traffic, business, we cannot count. So with uncountable nouns which state food or liquid, we can use the following expressions to show quantity. For example, bottle, cup, glass, can, slice, piece, loaf, carton, box, packet, kilo, liter, bar, bowl, etc. plus of. Okay, example, a loaf of bread, 4 cartons of milk. The words hair, light, glass, wood, rain, experience can also be used as countable nouns in the plural form with a different meaning. Let us look at this. Steve's hair is dark. So this one is uncountable. There are cat hairs on the sofa. Countable. My room doesn't get much light. Okay, uncountable. The lights are on but there's nobody home. Countable. This isn't a diamond ring. It's just glass. Uncountable. Have you seen my glasses anywhere? Countable. This table is made of wood. Uncountable. Would you like to go for a walk in the woods? Countable. My sister likes walking in the rain. Uncountable. How often do the rains come in Thailand? Countable. Have you got any previous work experience? Uncountable. We had some fascinating experiences when we visited China. Countable. So you see, you have to get familiar with these countable and uncountable nouns. Quantifiers. What are quantifiers? A quantifier is a word or phrase which is used before a noun to indicate the amount or quantity. Some, many, a lot of, and a few are examples of quantifiers. Quantifiers can be used with both countable and uncountable nouns. For example, there are some books on the desk. He's got only a few dollars. How much money have we got? There is a large quantity of fish in this river. He's got more friends than his sister. Okay, let us look at the quantifiers and how to use them. Okay, some, any, or no. Okay, some plus uncountable or plural countable nouns in affirmative sentences and in questions when we offer something or ask for something politely. Example, there is some orange juice in the fridge. Would you like some chips? Could I have some coffee? Any plus uncountable or plural countable nouns in questions and negative sentences. For example, is there any orange juice in the fridge? There aren't any chips on the table. And last one, no, equal to not any, plus uncountable or plural countable nouns in affirmative sentences to give a negative meaning. Example, there is no cheese in the fridge. Has the same meaning as there isn't any cheese in the fridge. Alright? Okay, now we look at many, much, a lot of, or a lot, lots of, or lots, plenty of, or plenty. For many plus plural countable nouns, mainly in questions and in negative sentences. For example, how many people were at the meeting yesterday? I didn't see many people from work there. Next, much plus uncountable nouns, mainly in questions and in negative sentences. How much sugar do you need? I didn't manage to learn much information from him. Next, a lot of, lots of, plenty of, plus uncountable or plural countable nouns, mainly in affirmative sentences. There were a lot of people at the party. Have some more food. There's lots of spaghetti left. Okay. Next, a few or few, a little or little. Okay, for few or a few plus plural countable nouns, a few has a positive meaning, whereas few has a negative meaning. Let's see the example. I need a few more things from the supermarket. Positive meaning. Very few people disagreed with him. Negative meaning. A little plus uncountable nouns. A little has a positive meaning, whereas little has a negative meaning. Example, there's still a little cake left in the fridge. Have some. Positive meaning, right? There's very little time left. Hurry. So negative meaning. So to summarize, okay, for uncountable nouns, we use much instead of many for countable. A little, very little, a bit of, a great deal of, a large amount of, a large quantity of. For both, we can use all, enough, more or most, less or least, no, none, not any, some, any, a lot of, lots of, and plenty of. And for countable nouns, we use many, a few or very few, a number or a number of, several, a large number of, a great number of, and a majority of. Okay, so I hope you are clear with this. Notes. Okay, for emphasis, we can use very, so, to plus little or few. Example, there's very little milk in my coffee. We want to stress on this. We can also use only plus a little or a few. He's got only a few friends. Okay, we want to emphasize. And some, any, much, many, a little, a few, a lot, lots, plenty can also be used without nouns as pronouns. Example, have you got any money? No, I haven't got any. We didn't buy any bread. We've got plenty. So students, I hope you are clear with the countable and uncountable nouns and also quantifiers. So this is the exercise that you have to do. Question 1 to question 4. Okay, let us look at the first question. Rodney always gives a little or lot money to charity organizations. Okay, little or lot? Which one is correct? Yes, little. So you do the rest in your reading book. Okay, now we move to another part of grammar, which is relative clauses. So relative clauses are introduced by relative pronouns who, which, that, whose, and the relative adverb where. Okay, you can look in the table below. For pronouns, okay, we use who and that for people, who or that for people. We use which and that or which or that for things, animals or ideas, and whose for possession. And for relative adverb, we use where for place. So for relative clauses, we have two types. One is defining relative clauses, another one is non-defining relative clauses. So what is the difference? So defining relative clauses give information which is needed to understand the meaning of the sentence. They are not separated from the main clause by commas. Okay, so for example, she's the girl who lives next door. So we don't use comma. She's the girl that lives next door. Correct. Or the book which you bought is on the desk. The book that you bought is on the desk. So no comma. Okay, it is a clear sentence. So note, who, which and that can be omitted if they refer to the object of the sentence. Whose and where cannot be omitted or replaced with that. Okay, keep it in your mind. In formal language, prepositions appear at the beginning of the relative clauses or clause. But in informal language, they appear at the end of the relative clause. For example, the chair on which I'm sitting isn't very comfortable. Okay, this is a formal language. But for informal language, the chair which I am sitting on isn't very comfortable. Or the chair that I am sitting on isn't very comfortable. So I hope you can differentiate these two way of using relative clauses. Okay, next is non-defining relative clauses. They give extra information about the person, thing or idea they refer to. They are always separated from the main clause by commas. Just now or previously, we talked about defining relative clauses, which we don't use comma. But for non-defining relative clauses, we use comma to separate the main clause. Okay, for example, Mr. Brown, who is our geography teacher, comma, is quite old. Or our car, comma, which costs us a lot, comma, keeps breaking down. Okay, so not relative pronouns or adverbs cannot be omitted in non-defining relative clauses. Neither can we use that instead of them. Cannot. Okay, prepositions usually appear at the beginning of non-defining relative clauses. For example, this cupboard, comma, in which I keep my old toys, comma, hasn't been cleaned for ages. So you see, preposition appear before the non-defining relative clauses or the WH questions. Alright? Which may also refer to a whole sentence. Okay? Describe a whole sentence. Okay, for example, he offered to give me a lift, which was very kind of him. So we want to describe about a noun. Okay, so this is the exercise 2 that you have to do. Okay, circle the correct words and add commas where necessary. Okay, zorbing, which that is an activity from New Zealand, is popular around the world nowadays. So, where do you think we should put comma? After the name, right? Zorbing, comma, which is an activity from New Zealand, New Zealand, comma, is popular around the world nowadays. So you do the rest, question 2 to 7 in your exercise book. Okay, for the last part of grammar, we are looking at past simple and past continuous. Okay, we use past continuous for actions that were happening at a specific point of time in the past yang sedang berlaku. So, for example, Karen was cooking dinner at 6 o'clock yesterday evening. So, at that time, she was cooking. Another use of past continuous is to set the scene in a story. So it was early in the evening and it was raining heavily. And last use of past continuous is for actions that were happening at the same time in the past. In this case, we usually use while. For example, while I was doing the washing up, my brother was vacuuming. For past simple, past continuous, okay, we use the past continuous and the past simple in the same sentence when one action interrupted another action in the past. We use the past continuous for the longer action and the past simple for the shorter action. In this case, we usually use while, when, or as. So, for example, as they were walking in the forest, they saw a bear. So, walking in the forest is a longer action compared to saw a bear. So, that's why walk we use were walking, and see or saw we use saw instead of were seeing. Alright, so while they were walking in the forest, they saw a bear. When they were walking in the forest, they saw a bear. Another example, I was having a bath when the lights went out. So having a bath is a longer action compared to the lights went out. Alright, so for the last exercise of grammar part, exercise 3, okay, you have to complete using the past simple or the past continuous of the verbs in brackets. So let's see, for example, the first blank, last summer, my friend Tom and I be in Kuala Lumpur. So be refers to verb to be, which in this context we are using past, so it is either was or were. So because Tom and I are in plural form, so we take were. Alright, so you do the rest in your reading exercise book, and we are going to discuss during the tutorial class this afternoon. Now we are in the last part of today's lesson, which is listening. So before you proceed to the listening activity, before you listen to Amy or you, okay, let's talk about this. Do you like films with action and adventure? Who is your favorite action film character? What do you like about him or her? So it is about personality, right? So you have to record your speaking video on these questions in about 1 to 2 minutes, just a short one. Okay, you may elaborate using your own points if you want, and you have to send your video in Google Classroom. So, for example, maybe you could say, yes, actually those are the only kind of films I like watching. For example, Harry Potter film. I like quite a few action film characters, but I think my favorite one is Jack Sparrow from Pirates of the Caribbean. Well, he's funny, intelligent, imaginative, likable, and a bit weird. So that's a short one. So you can use your own points to elaborate more to make it 1 to 2 minutes. Alright? Alright, students. So now you are ready for the listening activity. So you have 2 listening activities. Are you ready?
Listen. B. You will hear part of an interview with Helen Partridge, a girl that has recently been in the news. Listen and answer the questions. Choose A, B, or C.
And on to our next guest. Her name is Helen Partridge, and she was in the newspapers because she became the #1 Potterite in the country. What does that mean? Do you make pots or something?
No, a Potterite is a Harry Potter fan.
I was only joking. Now, you won a competition last week. Tell us about it.
Well, I entered a competition for the #1 Potterite in the country, and the final was last week. It was difficult as there are many dedicated Potterites out there, and I'm very proud to say that I am now considered the best.
What sort of questions did you have to answer?
Well, there were a lot of questions about the books and the films, but also about Harry's school, Hogwarts, and the magical world that he lives in. There were also quite a few tricky ones about the characters, but I managed to answer them. The final question was, when is Harry Potter's birthday?
Does the writer J.K. Rowling reveal Harry's date of birth?
Of course, but it isn't mentioned in the books. She revealed it in an interview later. Some people believe that the actor who plays Harry Potter, Daniel Radcliffe, has the same birthday, but that isn't true. His birthday is on the 23rd of July, but Harry was born on the 31st of July 1980. Interestingly, it is the same date as J.K. Rowling's birthday, although she was born in 1965.
Wow! You certainly know your stuff. Is there anything you don't know about Harry Potter?
I hope not. I've read all the books many times, I've seen all the films, I've got the DVDs, and I've got all the computer games. And next month, I'm planning to visit the Wizarding World of Harry Potter at Universal Studios in Florida. I've even got my own website which contains enormous amounts of information about Harry Potter.
Well, anyone can see that Harry Potter is a big part of your life.
Harry is like a friend to me. I mean, he's intelligent and very brave. He can be a bit stubborn sometimes, but he always does the right thing. He's also very loyal to his friends.
Yes, a true friend that supports you is always good to have, and that's definitely a good role model. Now, let's look at some texts, tweets and emails that people have sent in.
Listen. B. Look at the pictures below. Then listen to a TV news broadcast about a crime and tick what happened.
And now on to Tuesday's robbery at the Richmond Bank on Talbot Street. As we reported on Tuesday night, a bank robber entered the bank at 9:13 a.m. and demanded that the teller, a Miss Judy Parler, give him all the money. He got away with £34,000, but luckily nobody was hurt during the incident. Well, I say nobody, but actually the robber himself was attacked before he left the bank. And here you can see a video taken by a customer in the bank on his mobile. You may have already seen this because it's all over the internet at the moment. There's the bank robber entering the bank. He's wearing a mask, so you can't see his face. Now, can you see the little old lady by the door? Well, just keep your eye on her. After the hold-up, the bank robber takes the money and pauses to check the coast is clear. Then suddenly, bang! The old lady smashes him right in the face with her shopping bag. She almost knocks him over. She's shouting at him now, and he stumbles out of the bank and gets away. Well, that elderly hero's name is Hilda Moon, and she is on the line now. Hello, Mrs. Moon.
Hello.
Tell me, why did you risk your life at the bank?
Well, I saw that nobody else was doing anything, so I had no choice.
Weren't you scared?
Not really. I'm an old woman. He wouldn't attack me, would he?
And can I ask you, what was in the bag? I mean, you seemed to give the robber an almighty whack.
Well, I usually buy a fresh chicken from the butcher's on Tuesday morning, but I didn't have time that day, so I got a frozen one from the supermarket. But they're never as nice, are they?
I see. I'm sorry, Mrs. Moon, but we have a breaking news story and it concerns the bank robbery. Mike Gilbert is at the scene. Where are you, Mike?
Hi, Chris. Well, you're not going to believe this, but I'm outside a house on Waterford Road where police have just arrested the man who robbed the bank on Tuesday.
That's great. But how did they find him?
That's the amazing part. Police investigating the case found a tooth at the scene of the crime. They did DNA testing on the tooth and found its owner, a known criminal. His name is Fred Hitchin of 17 Waterford Road. Police searched his house and found the money.
That's remarkable. And it's all down to you, Mrs. Moon, and your frozen chicken.
That's lovely. But I don't think I'll be getting another frozen chicken. It didn't taste very good, and my husband complained that it...
Okay, so now we are in the summary of today's lesson or today's class. Okay, so we have done 5 activities today. So lesson recap of reading. We talk about the unusual ideas of for charity. Okay, then we have vocabulary and grammar. We have speaking about films and also 2 listening activities. So as a reminder, these are the to-dos of today's lesson. Task 1, reading exercise B, C and D. Task 2, vocabulary 1, 2 and 3 and grammar 1, 2 and 3. Task 3, record a speaking video of films. And task 4, listening 1 and 2. So snap photos of your work and send in Google Classroom. Okay, thank you students. That's all for today's lesson. So if you have any questions or problems, do not hesitate to contact me or your respective teachers. And see you during tutorial class this afternoon. Bye and Assalamualaikum.